Have you ever encountered an alien? One of those guys. Have you ever encountered them? There's a bunch of stories out there. I'm sure you guys have heard a couple of yourself. Here's one. Betty and Barney Hill. September 19th, 1961. Betty and Barney Hill on their way home from Vermont noticed something in the sky. At least Betty did at first. She noticed a bright light and it was dark. It's 10 p.m. and she noticed something in the sky. She turns to her husband and says, "What is that?" And she points at it. And her husband looks and sees this bright light in the sky. So he slows down. He stops on the side of the road on Route 3. He grabs his binoculars and he looks into the sky and he sees this craft and he can see two alien species inside this craft, flying this craft. So he steps on the accelerator, goes as fast as he possibly can, and seconds later, he's hit in the back of the car. Suddenly, he's home. 2 hours has gone by. They have no clue what happened. They have no memory of what had just happened to them in those 2 hours. So they call the cops, naturally, and the cops naturally reported this and possibly investigated, went to Route 3 to where they said they saw this thing and looked into the sky and saw absolutely nothing. And that was it, right? But then, about a day later or a week later, I'm not exactly sure, a member of the U.S. Army or the Air Force came to their house and took them to their base to interview them. And they interviewed them separately, and they both gave the same exact story. And then somehow the news got hold of this report and they published it in New Hampshire News or Daily, whatever you call the newspapers in New Hampshire. And, it became a thing. Like everybody knows about this story that happened, and people think it's the most, because there's like thousands of these encounter stories, right? Thousands, probably in the millions, maybe. I don't know. I mean, imagine the entire world. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of other people. It's not just the U.S. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are in this bubble, like, oh my God, it's only in America. No, it's everywhere. It has happening everywhere. Brazil, for example, has countless of these stories of encounter with unidentified aircrafts and aliens, for that matter. Gil Perez. This happened in 1596, I believe. Gil Perez, who happened to be a Filipino guard or police officer or an army guy, who was guarding a palace who belonged to this governor who just died that same exact day where this happened to Gil Perez, which is that he took a nap while he was on duty. This guy has no sense of responsibility. But then he woke up in Mexico and he's like, what the hell am I doing here, right? And he's telling people like, listen, I'm not from here. I'm from Philippines. That's why I'm dressed like this. And nobody believes him, right? And he tells them, listen, the governor died. You don't know about this, right? I assume some way, somehow he find out that people don't know that the governor died. And he tells them that the governor died. How would I know this before any of you, right? And so what so happened is another guard, was on a ship on his way to Mexico, and about 2 weeks later, possibly Gil Perez is in some prison in Mexico because they don't believe him and they think he's an intruder or some shit. I don't know. He comes, he's like, I know this guy. And yeah, the governor died. That's why I'm here to tell you guys that the governor died, because that's how there was no phones. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how they shared information. You literally had to go to an entirely different country or entirely different town to tell people what the fuck is going on. Right? So that's what happened. Right? Interesting story, right? A lot of these happen. A lot of these stories are out there. And, some are debunked, and some just, it must be a hoax. It just must be something people do just for attention. I don't freaking know. I don't know. Might be. Maybe that's true. I don't know. Universe is vast. Our probability of another life form existing in another entire galaxy is high. Is very high. It's very high. And as a theist, I am a theist. I am a believer of God. I believe so. I believe there is possibly countless of lives and countless of galaxy. Why not? Why wouldn't there be? And in the same level of intelligence like as we are, and possibly more advanced. I don't know. I doubt, though, that they can ever come to the universe, to our galaxy. I doubt it. There's no possible way for them to be able to travel millions of light years with any type of aircraft in any speed, because they would not they cannot be sustained as a life form in that aircraft if they're going that fast. It just doesn't make sense, right? Is there some science? I believe science is kind of that agrees with me in that sense. There's no probable way for them to be able to travel. Yeah, maybe they can. Maybe, hold on, let me take a step back. Possibly they can. I believe, is the reason I'm arguing this, that they have never ever been aliens from outer space ever visited the United States or any other country for that matter. And actually, people had real encounters with aliens from different planets, with different governments, and etc. What I think happened is they had encounters with jinn, demons, species that are energy based, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. And to further provide evidence towards that, is that it exists in every culture and throughout history of these invisible creatures, right? Things like these and stories like these, that these spiritual or spirits or demons or whatever you want to call them exist, and they have encountered them many, many times throughout history and throughout cultures all around the world. Which is, and to me, is more probable than a species traveling light years just to stick stuff up our asses and see what's in there. You know, that's what I'm saying. That's all I gotta say. That's my video, is to share with you that it is more possible and highly likely that people have encountered what I call and Muslims call jinn, than they have aliens, which again, by definition, would be aliens. Jinn are aliens. I mean, we have never met them, we have never seen them, or have seen them, but don't know how or what they are. And also, by definition, angels are aliens, literally, they're exactly that, extraterrestrial beings from the skies. I mean, what else can they be? So when people be like making jokes about people's religion when it comes to the angels and jinn, like, oh my God, what? Yeah, but you're ready to believe in aliens who are advanced, capable of traveling billions of layers and whatever, and have super unnatural powers like controlling, objects like, telekinesis and teleportation and all this other stuff. What's the difference? We're saying the same stories. Like, angels can teleport, or jinn can teleport for that matter, because they're energy based and possibly have advanced technology because they've been here longer than us. I don't know. And throughout all type of cultures, you find a correlation in this regards, in the concept of these species that I'm talking about, angels and demons and jinn and so on. I just find it interesting, and I think one time in our history, human beings were actually highly advanced technologically, and that the world had to go through natural processes like ice age, where everything was covered up, and then we had to relearn things. That's my theory, and I think that's a theory that actually has some merit. And there's people in high academic circles who believe exactly that, if you research it, because it's not far-fetched at all. Why, the world is rich with information that we just have not uncovered yet, and it's just something that I thought it was interesting to share with you guys. And the only reason I'm sharing it, because I haven't thought of any video for so long. So I hope you liked it. Peace.